Continuing on around the Ring of Kerry from Killarney today, we'll share 3 places you won't want to miss, and a couple of others we found along the way.
Stay tuned for number 3, because it includes a warning about dangerous animals and plants at the beaches of Ireland.
When we left off last time, I told you about something that Chris was going to have to do that he hates.
I really hate to backtrack. Now, for this trip, it was required, but I really hate backtracking. It seems so unproductive. But if you've got to break that rule, you might as well do it on the Ring of Kerry.
At least have good scenery to watch when you're backtracking. And you can see it from the other side that way.
And different times of day.
Right.
So we had to backtrack from Killarney to Kenmare on that section of the Ring of Kerry.
Now, the first place on our list today is a bit of a misnomer to say that you need to see it, because if you're on the Ring of Kerry, you will pass right through it, and that is Mauls Gap, a mountain pass at the junction of
N71 and R568
on the Ring of Kerry. Formerly known as Windy Gap, it became known as Molls Gap after Moll Gap, who in the 1870s, when the road from Kenmare to Killarney was being constructed, saw a business opportunity. And she opened an illegal pub there at the construction site. An illegal pub, we would call it a speakeasy, but in Ireland it's called a shebeen. And Moll Gap made her own Irish moonshine, as we would call it. However, they call it Puchin. And she made Puchin and sold it to the construction workers that were working on the road there. What do you think about a shebeen?
Seems like she'd been bootlegging a little bit.
She'd been bootlegging for sure.
Good for Moll.
And I have to thank YouTube's Irish Whiskey Lad for his pronunciation lesson about Puchin.
Sounds like moonshine.
It is
in the
very
US.
similar to moonshine. And in fact, it's served like moonshine is at weddings and funerals. And we've had an experience where you were offered moonshine that a family went home to the southern US to pick up for the wedding.
Especially for the wedding. I had met the bride's father and his brother, who was tending bar, and they offered me a shot of the liquor that they provided from home. I was duped into taking a whole shot when they took a sip. They enjoyed watching my face turn 5 shades of red.
Moonshine, or Puchin, is anywhere from 40 to 90% alcohol, so 180 proof. Now, Puchin also had another nickname. It was known as Mountain Dew. And when Irish and Scots immigrants traveled to Appalachia, they started making their own moonshine, and 2 brothers decided in the 1930s to take advantage of that nickname of Mountain Dew and make a soft drink to actually mix with the White Lightning, or Puchin, and Mountain Dew soft drink was born out of that, and actually it is still made to this day. Now, Puchin was outlawed by the British government in the 1600s due to the fact that they couldn't tax it and make any money off of it.
No control.
No, they didn't. In 1997, the Irish government made it legal again, and is actually now produced by a number of distilleries and wineries in Ireland. Now, back to Molls Gap. You might think there's not much there, and you'd kind of be right. However, Molls Gap, on a reasonably clear day, has some of the most outstanding views on the Ring of Kerry, as it overlooks Macgillycuddy's Reeks, which is the highest mountain range in Ireland. There is a large parking lot where you can park, you can get out, walk around, take pictures, shoot video. We do have 2 words of caution. One is, if you are walking around, please be careful when you're crossing the road to Avoca Cafe, which we understand is the location of Moll's original shebeen. When you're crossing the road, though, watch out for cars. As actually in our footage, there was a woman who crossed the road right in front of us as we were coming around. The other admonition that we would give you is, if you are driving through that intersection, to slow down, because it is a blind curve where that intersection is, and you cannot see cars coming the other way. So please do slow down and be careful going through Molls Gap. But get out and enjoy the views. We left Molls Gap and continued on around the Ring of Kerry. And Chris came up with an idea, since we had a little bit of time to kill.
I have one every now and then.
They're not half bad.
So I decided, let's go off plan. We're on the Ring of Kerry. We're going to drive a little while, but we've got plenty of time. Let's pull off on the first road that heads down towards the beach and see what we can see. We saw a turn coming up and put our signal on, went down a road called Oyster Bed Road and Oyster Bed Pier. And we drove back through the woods quite a ways on a narrow road, got to the end, and there was a pier there. Off in the distance, you could see boats and what looked like maybe an oyster farm. We met a gentleman from north side of the Barra Peninsula. Was kind of curious why we were there. Just said we wanted to come back and see what was out here. It was a beautiful morning.
It was really nice out there.
And
no one else there.
Except us and the gentleman from Barra.
So we headed on down the N70. It was raining a little bit, kind of drizzling then, but we came to the town of Sneem, which is number 2 on our list of places to stop on this section of the Ring of Kerry. Sneem is a lovely little village, and if you've watched many of our videos, you've probably heard us talk about the Tidy Town competition. We've visited several other towns that were winners in the Tidy Town competition. Sneem is no exception. They have won the Tidy Town competition. But they are a very small village. Their population is 400 or less. That's smaller than the town you grew up in.
It is.
St. Paul, Indiana.
That's surprising.
That's full-time residents. During tourist season, this is quite a popular location on the Ring of Kerry, and they do have quite a few accommodations available in and around the town. One thing that Sneem is famous for is Sneem black pudding. Sneem black pudding is known for having a unique texture. It's a very smooth, creamy, mousse-like texture. And so when they pan fry it, it gets crispy on the outside, but when you bite into it, it's very smooth and creamy on the inside. And I did find a page from a local craft butcher in Sneem, Peter O'Sullivan, and we will put a link down below so that you can visit his page. And we'll have to make a point to check out Sneem black pudding on our next visit.
I definitely think so. So the village of Sneem is known as the Knot, K-N-O-T, of the Ring of Kerry. And it's divided by the Sneem River into 2 sectors, the south and the north park area. It's home to many things for a village that size. It's home for the Kerry Geopark office, which covers much of the Ring of Kerry. There's also a sculpture trail, a patchwork of gardens featuring stone teepees, and there's a maze for children to go through. There's also stunning views of the Sneem River and the mouth of Kenmare Bay. There's a panda sculpture from China, a time capsule. There's monuments to noteworthy local residents, from sport heroes to, I think, a president. So there's all these things to do in this small little village.
And it's beautiful. One monument you won't find is to a native of Sneem, William Melville. And William Melville was the first chief of the British Secret Service. He left Sneem during a very difficult time in Irish history and went to Britain and became a police officer and started the British Secret Service. And he is believed to be the inspiration for the character of M in the James Bond movies.
Quite a heritage.
Yes, it is. And there's actually, at the Visitor Center, there is a big display about him. There's been talk about a monument for him, but there are mixed feelings about that because of the fact that he left Ireland and went to Britain. There's that British-Irish thing that you hear a lot about wherever you go in Ireland. The character of M in the James Bond movies has been portrayed by no less than 7 actors, including David Niven and Dame Judi Dench. Also in Sneem, in addition to hotels and B&Bs, there's a caravan park. They have a lot going on. They have seaweed baths, they have craft shops. I was amazed at the amount of things they have for a village that's that tiny.
We could have spent much longer.
We really could have, and would have enjoyed it.
Absolutely. While we were there in Sneem, I met Claude and Colette Ledoux from somewhere north of Toronto, Canada. Colette is the author of Broken Bread, an entertaining book about her gluten-free journey, and there's a link below.
She has a kind of light-hearted view of the whole difficulty, and sounds like the book is very interesting.
It does. They were great to talk with.
They were very fun.
The odd thing was, I think they kind of came on the spur of the moment, and they didn't really have have accommodation set up for the whole trip, and they did say, well, we kind of like flying by the seat of our pants.
Yes, this was on Wednesday, and they were headed to Dingle on Friday night, and we were headed to Dingle, and they said, oh, where are you staying? Because they didn't have accommodations for Dingle on a Friday night. And we were kind of concerned about that. They didn't seem to be worried about it. They figured they would find something, so.
They were self-sufficient.
They were, and they had a great attitude about travel.
Absolutely.
Sneem is also part of the Kerry Way hiking trail, which is a more than 200-kilometer walking route around the Iveragh Peninsula, the Ring of Kerry. I will put a link to a fabulous website down below. We decided we needed a little bit of a snack, so we stopped for ice cream at Mullins Family Ice Cream, and I believe we had Nutella flavored ice cream.
It's delicious.
It was very good.
It's a cute little place.
It was. So we headed on around the Ring of Kerry some more, and we found our third choice of places to stop.
So from Sneem, we headed west, and if no one's noticed yet, we're kind of going against the grain because it's always recommended driving counterclockwise on the Ring of Kerry.
Or anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise.
That's the Irish thing.
We were driving clockwise, just as we did on the Ring of Kerry. So as we were heading west, we came across a sign that pointed us to Whitestrand Beach, which is also called Kileen Beach. Seems off the beaten path a little bit. There was a small road down to our left that went to a small car park and walked down the hill towards the beach. And it's a beautiful beach with lots of varied plant life and stunning views of the Atlantic Ocean.
It was gorgeous. The seagrass and just there was like a little bluff. It's really a beautiful beach. And again, there was no one there.
It's amazing. Not only did we hit the weather, but we would arrive and would have basically open beach with no one else there. The tide was down, so we were able to go over the sand to this little island or outcropping, I guess. We finally saw a couple of other visitors, and we met Thomas and Kathleen from Bavaria, Germany. There was a language problem, but we always tend to get through that, and they were kind enough to get through it with us, and we ended up taking photos of each other. They took pictures with our phone, we took pictures with their phone. But it wouldn't be the last time that we would see them on this trip.
You never know who you will run into later on down the line. And as we promised at the start, there are dangerous animals and plants at the beaches of Ireland, aren't there, Chris?
Dangerous to the sense that they won't ruin your life, but they could ruin your day. When we got to Whitestrand Beach, I noticed a small sign that warned of stinging weaver fish. I had never heard of those before, but came to find out that they're smallish fish. The max size would be about under 6 inches long. I'm gonna guess most of them are maybe 3 or 4 inches long. They have a spiny dorsal fin, and the spines have venom on them. And they're difficult to see because they bury themselves in the sand on the beach, shimmy down like that, right?
Yeah.
And
I like that.
and they lie there in the sand, and if you walk out barefoot, you can step on them and you'll be in immense pain.
The little dorsal fin sticks up and it will puncture your foot on the bottom as you step onto it. So they tend to stay in shallow water, mostly in hot summer months that you find them. They recommend shuffling your feet as you go along so that you're not stepping directly down on them. It's akin to, for most people, a bee sting or a wasp sting on your foot. As you know, some people are allergic to bee and wasp stings, and this is no exception. If you do step on one, they recommend for first aid that you plunge your foot that's affected into the hottest water you can stand. For anywhere from 30 to 90 minutes so that it will extract some of the poison. If you have a more severe reaction, symptoms might be a headache, nausea, then you do want to seek medical attention for that.
And the other warning is they also can stay on the damp beach. It doesn't have to be water covered for short periods of time. but you can also step on them there.
So there are also plants that can be a little nasty.
Yeah, they're beautiful, and they were out on this outcropping overlooking the ocean, and I had to look on my phone to see what it was called. They had these beautiful little yellow flowers. These things are particularly hazardous because their leaves have formed into little spines, and if you stick your hand in there, you can
Stab yourself with the leaves, actually.
And I found out that it's called gorse. Now, gorse, as I had always heard, was on link-style golf courses. You usually hear about it during the Open every year.
The 8th hole requires a blind tee shot over bushes to a fairway protected by gorse on the left and 2 bunkers down the right.
But you do not want to stick your hand in there.
Or step on them.
Or chase a golf ball into one, because it will hurt and probably draw blood if you reach in there.
So at the beach, the best advice that we have for you is wear water shoes. We were nearing our destination for the night, and so we decided we would stop before then and find a pub, have a pint. And so we were headed from there to the town of Waterville. And that's where we'll pick up on our next episode.
Until then, watch this video here, or this one over here.
And we'll see you next time on this second half adventure.
Thanks again. Bye now.
Bye-bye.